Before the forests of Hellas fell silent beneath the march of centuries, there was a tale whispered among hunters and poets, a tale of beauty and doom. It begins in the age when gods walked unseen among the groves, and the rivers sang beneath the silver light of dawn. This is the story of Actaeon, the proud hunter whose fate was sealed by a single glance. The year was written as 1200 before the Common Era, and the sun had just begun its slow ascent over the ridges of Mount Cithaeron. The air was cool, fragrant with pine and wild thyme, and the forest lay bathed in a golden haze, as though the earth itself dreamed beneath the tender breath of morning. Birds called from the shadowed boughs, their voices mingling with the distant murmur of streams, and the wind carried whispers that stirred the leaves like secrets. Actaeon was a prince of Thebes, born to Aristeus and Autonoe, and his skill with bow and spear was sung across the valleys. His stride was swift as the mountain wind, his eyes keen as the falcon's flight, and his heart burned with the restless fire of youth. On this day, he led his companions deep into the wooded slopes, seeking the thrill of the chase beneath the towering oaks and the tangled thickets where stags hid like shadows. The hunt was fierce and joyous. Spears flashed like shards of sunlight, and the baying of hounds rolled like thunder through the glades. Yet as noon drew near, the heat grew heavy, and Actaeon, thirsting for cool waters, wandered apart from his band. His path wound through a grove where the light fell soft and green, and the air was hushed as though the forest held its breath. There, hidden among the laurels, lay a pool clear as polished crystal, its surface trembling with the sigh of a secret spring. And there, within that sacred water, stood Artemis, goddess of the hunt, her form radiant as moonlight upon snow. Her hair flowed like molten gold. Her limbs gleamed with the purity of dawn, and the nymphs who attended her moved like shadows of grace. They laughed softly as they bathed, their voices mingling with the murmur of the stream, unaware of mortal eyes. But Actaeon saw, and in that instant the world changed. Awe struck him silent, and his breath faltered like a broken reed. He had not sought to profane the goddess, yet his gaze was a trespass, and the law of Olympus is stern. Artemis turned, her eyes blazing like cold stars, and the laughter of the nymphs died into silence. The forest seemed to darken, and the air grew heavy with wrath. "Leave this place," she spoke, her voice like the clash of silver against stone. "For no mortal may behold the naked glory of the divine and live." Her hand rose, scattering drops like molten fire, and the water that kissed his skin became a curse. Actaeon felt his limbs twist, his voice break into a cry that was no longer human. His hands shrank into hooves, his body clothed itself in tawny fur, and his proud brow sprouted antlers that branched like the trees above. Terror seized him, and he fled through the groves, his heart pounding like a drum of doom. Yet the hounds he had raised from whelps, the faithful beasts that had shared his heart, now turned upon him with savage cries. They knew not their master. They saw only the quarry, and their fangs flashed like ivory blades. The forest rang with the tumult of pursuit, and Actaeon's breath came in sobs as he leapt through thickets and streams, his antlers tearing the veils of leaves. But fate is relentless. At last, upon a rocky slope where the pines stood gaunt against the sky, the hounds closed in. Their jaws rent his flesh, and his cry rose like a broken hymn to the indifferent heavens. The earth drank his blood, and the wind bore away his voice, until only silence reigned beneath the shadowed boughs. Thus ends the tale of Actaeon, the hunter who beheld a goddess and paid the price of wonder. His name lingers in the whispers of the forest, in the sigh of streams that wind through lonely glades, and in the hearts of those who dream of beauty too bright for mortal eyes.